online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special Tough Enough AfterBuzz edition. You're watching live on AfterBuzzTV.com as well as the YouTube AfterBuzz page. You can also listen on iTunes and SoundCloud. Make sure you subscribe, give those 5 stars, all that good stuff. My name is Christian Rosenberg. Follow me on Twitter at RealRosenberg. And joining me right now on the line, I'm in shock that I'm speaking to him right now. I didn't think I would be talking to him until after he won the damn thing. At Tough Patrick C, Patrick Clark from Tough Enough is joining us. How are you this morning, Patrick?
I'm good. How are you, Christian?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm just still in shock from what I watched last night, and I know a lot of people around social media have been in shock too. Has the shock settled into you yet?
I wouldn't consider it a shock. I consider it motivation, more or less. Yeah, it definitely wasn't a shock. It was a foot in the door, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And because a lot of people were really, displaying their, I don't want to use the word frustration, but just like, they're very surprised that the guy who's been showing the most passion, the guy who has the background, is got eliminated. And like even the Miz on Tough Talk was adamant about it. He was very surprised about it. What does it feel like to you seeing these people like Miz stand up for you? Mick Foley went on social media talking about it. What does that mean to someone like you?
It's an honor to me to know that legends like Mick Foley and current superstars like The Miz actually paid attention to me and noticed my efforts during my time on Tough Enough. It's really it's a wake-up call, though, to the WWE universe. It's kind of like the story of my life. All you ever hear is WWE is fake, everything's predetermined, this and that, but people don't understand how real the WWE is and how legitimate it is. The voting is real. Everything's real. So I feel like most of probably my fan base or anyone who showed their disapproval and probably didn't vote thought that I was just going to stay, thought that I was a shoo-in for whatever reason. But I'm here to say to the WWE universe and anybody following Tough Enough still that it's real, it's legitimate, and if you want your voice heard, you have the WWE Tough Enough app and Twitter to do so.
And you're talking about, things being real. How real did it feel to get chopped by the Big Show last night?
Oh, that was as real as it gets.
Yeah.
That's worse than 3D, man. Holy crap.
Do you still have like a nice bruise along your chest this morning?
I've got a little red mark on the top left corner of my pec, and coming from a guy like me, that's saying something.
Now, can you explain the difference to, a lot of our viewers, they're only really familiar with WWE and sports entertainment. Well, obviously, you have worked, along the independent scene. Explain kind of the differences when it comes to a wrestler from independent wrestling training to sports entertainment training.
All right, well, first and foremost, I started training under Maryland Championship Wrestling, Dan McDevitt, Pat Brink, and Dean Guttridge, June 3rd, 2014, and I had my first independent professional wrestling match February of this year. There's a huge difference. WWE sports entertainment is TV-oriented. So you want to be able to tell a story, and that shows through your athleticism in the ring. You want to tell a story. You want the fans to invest. And having the platform that the WWE has through TV weekly, you're able to advance those stories without viewers losing interest or not being able to follow the product. On the independent wrestling scene, most of the independent wrestlers have a tough time trying to create a story, and it's a lot tougher for guys like us to, create that connection with the wrestling world, the independent wrestling scene, because you have WWE and you can, let's say current storyline right now is Rusev, Lana, Summer Rae, and Dolph Ziggler. Mm-hmm. And you can follow the story because you got the WWE Network, you got YouTube, you got this, you got that, and you got weekly TV every week where you can follow their saga. If you go to an independent scene and you try to run the same story, you've got whatever time you're given to go out there, and you have to tell that story each and every town you go to, each and every night you step into that ring, and you have to do it with intent, because if you don't, you've lost your audience.
I 100% agree with you. I myself have been working in independents out here in California as a commentator and a manager for nearly 10 years now. So I know exactly what you're saying. So and how does it feel for you? You kind of like represented all these men and women on these small independent promotions around the country on this grand stage. How did it feel to kind of represent everyone who's trying to get there?
It's funny that you say I represented them, because the Indies were the furthest thing on my mind while I was here. I didn't want any connection to the Indies, because I know that it may have a negative connotation with certain people in connection to the WWE. But looking back on it, I feel like I represented the Indies well, and that I showed that we are full of passion, and everybody out there, it's not like we don't take it seriously. I feel like so many independent wrestlers have given the Indies a bad name because they're not trained properly, and they think that they can just come up here and do it, and, one bad apple ruins the bunch. So I feel like I'm trying to create a new apple tree, if you will.
How many people in the barracks actually just turn on the WWE Network when they have downtime besides you to study and watch pay-per-views and whatnot?
Tanner. I can honestly say Tanner is the only one that I can honestly remember that if I'm not in the room, he'll go in there by himself and study. And that's kudos to him for that. Other than that, 10 times out of 10, I'm sitting on the couch watching something, and everyone comes in and says, I want to learn about this, I want to learn about that. But Tanner's the only one there who's taken the initiative to search it. He has his own WWE Network account, which they all should. And he's studying 24/7 now. He wants this.
Who did you get the most advice from, whether it was on camera or off camera, from the trainers, the coaches, etc.? Who really said something or did something to you that really hit home?
Chris Jericho, for him to have been the host of the show and him not to see us but every Tuesday, he made it a point to say something to me every show, and it was always a new piece of advice. Whether I didn't understand what Hulk Hogan meant when he said he wanted me to step up, or whether it was what's the next step for me on last night's episode after the show, after Tough Talk, he always has a piece of advice for me, and he's always coaching me on. So Chris Jericho, by far.
What do you think would be better for you, for your future and for your growth in this business? Getting a developmental deal today, which involves you probably spending, a good 6 to 12 months off of NXT before you come on, or say a year traveling in the independent scene with your newfound fame and then hopping in?
I realize that if you want to be successful in the WWE, you have to be a businessman. You have to be a smart businessman. And I don't think it would be a smart decision for me to jump right into a developmental contract if given the choice today. Hypothetically speaking, if I was offered a developmental contract today, I probably wouldn't take it, only because I know financially right now, I'm not stable to the point where I know I can move down to Florida right now and I can start training at the Performance Center. I feel like I need to take the time that I'm given and go back to the Indies and create an even bigger name for myself. I mean, I've already had the WWE Tough Enough platform. I can only go higher from here and create a name for myself, get more in-ring experience from the best independent promotions, and just the overall experience. You know, being on a reality show, you don't get as much in-ring experience as you would like. On the indies, you can get that.
Yeah, that actually leads me to my next question, because I was wondering, how much actual wrestling training are you guys doing per day? I know obviously there's some stuff that gets periscoped, and of course we see some of the challenges, but on a daily basis, how much ring time did you guys get?
I would say I don't like looking at it daily. I like looking at it weekly because there's a whole lot that goes into any given day here at Tough Enough.
Mm-hmm.
Weekly, I would say we got at least 4 hours of ring training, and that normally consisted of rolling, bumps, and learning a new move.
Okay. I got a few questions from some of your fans. I posted late last night, early this morning, that I'd be talking to you. I saw you were kind enough to retweet it, and all of a sudden my Twitter exploded with a bunch of questions. So I found a few of my favorites. At Awesome HBK wanted me to ask you, who do you think was the hottest girl in the house?
Wow. Okay, that's a good one. You know, this is pretty biased to me, but I've always been in love with Trish Stratus.
Okay.
And
there's nothing wrong with that.
Amanda looks exactly like Trish. So the hottest girl in the house would have to be Amanda.
All right. At Danilo_Papayas want to know, if you were to choose anyone, past or present, to be your tag team partner, who would it be?
If I had to choose anyone, past or present, to be my tag team partner, I would really love to get into the ring with Ravishing Rick Rude. It was something about him and the charisma that he exuded that he just made everything he touched and everybody he was with better.
As much as I'm a fan of you, the fact that you just said Ravishing Rick Rude would be your partner just made you jump like 10,000 points in my book. That was awesome. At NKBE1324 wants to know, who do you think should have gone home last night?
Personally, and he's going to hate the fact that I said this, but as far as reality checks go, I think ZZ should have been the one to go home last night. I read a couple of tweets, and someone tweeted to me, and they said, how many times do you get? You know, this is my first time in the bottom three, and I had won 3 challenges, and Hulk Hogan even said I've been improving every week. He said that on Tough Talk. You know, I'm improving every week. I win 3 challenges, and this is my first time in the bottom 3, and I go home. And then you got ZZ, who's been in the bottom 3. This was his third time out of 5. 5 weeks he's been here, and he's been in the bottom 3 times. To me, it's 3 strikes, you're out. I mean, what don't you get by now? ZZ is incredibly charismatic. There's no doubt about that. Week after week after week, he's been told to fix his physical appearance and his cardiovascular conditioning. You got 5 weeks to do that, a little over a month. Josh has lost 30 pounds in a month, and ZZ has yet to do anything. And he's just trying to step up halfway through the competition. And like I said in last night's episode, it's like a kick in the groin that he stayed and I went home because he doesn't want this. He's not showing it.
But then you also, at the end of Tough Enough, though, you said if you were to pick a winner, you were going to pick ZZ. So now you're saying he should have been the one to go home, though.
Yeah, last night I was at a very emotional, probably the most emotional I've been all year, honestly. And ZZ standing there being my best friend, we're hugging and stuff, and ZZ is a very overly emotional person. He's very critical of himself, and I want him to have good faith. So to say that on TV, like I said, I gave him a swift kick in the butt last night when I said what I said to him because I do want to see him succeed. But at the same time, our work ethics are so different that it's disrespectful to me that knowing you being my best friend in the house and knowing how I feel about this competition, that you would even disrespect me by not taking it serious in the slightest. I want him to know that I want him to win, but in all honesty, he should have went home because that's his only reality check at this point. If he doesn't step it up this week, nothing that I've said to him these past 5 weeks was worth it.
So then on that note, obviously, if you're no longer in the competition and you don't feel that ZZ should win, who do you think of the remaining people in the house should win?
Girl and guy, or just a guy?
A girl and guy.
Girl-wise, undeniably Gigi. She 4 challenges in a row. The other 2 challenges, she came in second. She's at the top. She's at the top of the female. She is the other girls can't touch her. She is moved so far ahead of the pack that if she doesn't win, I will be shocked. And as far as guys go, I definitely don't think ZZ should win it. I feel like Josh should win it. And I've got a reason as to why I don't pick all the other guys. ZZ, I just told you. Mm-hmm. Tanner, because just the simple fact that when we started this, he said that if this didn't work out, if he wasn't picked as a final 13, he'd just go right back to MMA. This isn't his first different for one little reason. One reason that you really can't control should make you a WWE superstar. If you want to be a WWE superstar, it's an intangible of things that you created, mixed with the natural abilities that you have. And I feel like Josh is used to the NFL, used to moving around. He's personally told me that he's ready to move his family down here to Florida, whether this works out or it doesn't. Josh has proven to me that he's invested in this.
Well, I appreciate the time that you've taken this morning to chat with us. Do you have any messages you want to send to all your fans that have watched you and listened to us talk about you on AfterBuzz TV?
Okay, I want to thank everyone listening today, all my supporters, all my fans. I want to thank you for the support that you've given me. It's truly humbling, and it's an honor to know that over 15,000 of you, from what I've seen through social media, have supported me, and I know there's more. And if you want to continue to follow Patrick Clark's journey to making it back to the WWE and NXT, you can follow me on my social media outlets, Twitter @ToughPatrickC, Instagram @ToughPatrickC, Periscope @Patroscope, PATRISCOPE, and on Facebook as Patrick Clark.
Well, Patrick, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And in all seriousness, I've not said this to any of the other people that I've interviewed on the show. I want to keep in contact with you because I want to get you booked at indie shows out here in California, because I feel, because you got the passion, you have the talent, you need to show it to even more people, and I want to help however I can out here on the West Coast with you. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely, Patrick. Thank you so much for calling in this week. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Patrick Clark. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram @ToughPatrickC, or his Periscope @Patroscope, which is awesome. You can follow me on Twitter @Ro Rosenberg, Instagram @TheRo Rosenberg, and of course for all your other AfterBuzz TV news and gossip, follow them on Twitter @AfterBuzz TV. Patrick Clark, once again, thank you so much for joining us this week. Best of luck to you, and for all of you watching, we'll see you guys next week with more Tough Enough AfterBuzz. I'm Christian Rosenberg. See ya.
Very good, Gene.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.